Hi guys, welcome to the review of the various tablet PC stylus that I currently have. I'm going to cover the motion computing standard pen, the bamboo stylus feel, the UP Wacom tablet PC pen, the Toshiba digitizer pen, the Axiotron Studio pen, and the Axiotron standard digitizer pen, as well as the Surface Pro pen. Unfortunately, I don't have the box for the Surface Pro, so you'll see that's why that one's actually by itself. But I just wanted to show you what the packaging looks like, give you an idea of what to look for whenever you see it come in the mail or whenever you order it or purchase it, and talk a little about each one, and we'll run them through some tests to see which one is the preferred pen for an artist who wants to draw digitally and on the go. Here we go. Okay, first of all, let's talk about the actual look of each one of these pens. The first one is the Surface Pro. It's a standard, very thin pen. It has a nice little clip right here, so you can actually have, I guess, I don't know, carry it on your shirt or something. I'm not sure. It has the one button feature, not two button feature, has a blue tip, and has a flat eraser. Again, I don't know what that's for, but I'm assuming it's pressure sensitive because it does have a little spongy feel. The next one is the Wacom UP tablet PC pen. It's off gray. It does have one button, I think, as well. I don't feel the second button on this one. Basic nylon tip, pen pressure sensitive eraser as well, and a little bit thicker than the Surface Pro as far as the feel of it. Next up we have the motion computing standard digitizer pen. This one actually has a nice heavy weight. I went ahead and changed out the tip. I like the springy tip, so I put the actual Wacom tip with the actual spring in it. Does only have one button, has a really odd shaped eraser, but it is pressure sensitive, and it has a hole in the eraser so that you can actually run your little tethered string to it in case you lose it on your tablet, or to prevent you from losing it from your tablet. Next we have is the Axiotron Studio pen. Really nice weight, very heavy in comparison, thick, so it has a nice grip for people who are used to using the Intools 4 pen. Also the pen pressure sensitive eraser. I keep saying pen pressure, but it's just a pressure sensitive eraser for all ones that I've indicated. And of course I also put the springy tip on it, so it has a really nice feel. And this one does have two button functionality on it. Really nice pen. Okay, next one we have is the bamboo stylus feel. Really nice, well-made pen. I really like the overall form factor. One of the important things I like about this one is actually that it has an actual cap, so you can actually have this with you in case you drop it. You don't actually rupture the tip in any way, shape, form, or fashion. What I don't like is that when you actually put this cap on the back end, it actually makes it top heavy, so it's actually constantly like you're feeling this pull as you're drawing. As far as the tip, according to the specs, it says it's 1024 levels of pressure. We'll wait to see if that's an accurate thing to be expected, but overall feel of this pen is pretty nice. I would opt for the actual eraser, because this one does not come with an eraser. They don't make one with an eraser yet. It does have one button feature, not two buttons, and that's pretty much all I could say about this one. The next one we have is the Toshiba digitizer pen. I really like the form factor of this one. It has a clip, which I don't find too useful other than whenever I use it with my Samsung tablet. I can actually clip it and save it somewhere. It does have a pressure sensitive eraser, I did go ahead and install a spring tip from Wacom as opposed to the typical felt tips that come with the Toshiba digitizer. And I also added an extra grip just to actually give it a heavier feel. It does have the one button and not the two button functionality, so there's a con there. And the last one I'm going to talk about is the Axiotron standard digitizer pen. This pen right here does have two button, does have the nylon tip, and it does have the pressure sensitivity on the eraser as well. Okay, so first off, I went ahead and typed in all the model numbers along with the names so you can get an idea and feel for what pen might work best for you or might be suited best for you, and features each one can handle or not handle, and we'll try it. Right now I'm going to do a test on amount of weight that's being put or applied to the actual pen onto the digitizer, and so I'm barely going to just dangle the pen right on top of the screen for each one of these, and then you can see how it reacts. And I'm going to do circular motions so you can actually see, you know, if it's picking up or not picking up any of these motions. Here it goes. Here's the first one. This is the Motion Computing Standard digitizer pen, as you'll see here, and there's a model number in case you need it. I'm just going to be doing really light circles. I'm not putting any pressure or any weight at all, and I'm just letting it dangle to see what kind of reaction we get. And we're going to zoom in on it just to see whether or not it captured anything. And as you can see, there's a lot of light lines in there with very light and minimal, I don't know if you can see this on the screen, but there's some really light lines on here, as well as some heavier lines. I guess as I went higher on the slope, it actually captured some of that. Overall, not bad. I would think it's a pretty decent pen for the amount of weight. I don't know anybody who actually like dangles their pen to draw, but just to give you the amount of like pressure that you would need to actually do something like this. Now I'm also just going to apply some moderate pressure to see if it does it. See if it captures everything it's supposed to, and it looks like it's doing okay. I won't go any further than that. I'll leave it at that. And this one first slight curve, I don't know if you can see that, but that's just me actually like not concentrating and doing it correctly the right way. So I'll just do another one over here so you can see that. It's human error, not digitizer error. Okay, so the next pen, again, same thing, just going to dangle it. This is the Axiotron Studio pen, and there's a model number, and once again, barely going to put any pressure on it. I mean, I'm not putting any at all, I'm just letting it dangle as we go. And you'll see that it's actually a little more sensitive and showing a lot more heavier line right off the bat. So a couple of things that can contribute to this. It could be the actual weight of the pen, because this one's obviously heavier than the standard digitizer for motion. It could be just obviously any pressure from my hand. It could be the actual tip sensor, how fast it reacts to the actual digitizer, and obviously the levels of pressure that's on the tablet. So three typical scenarios, things that you'd expect, things you'd have to I guess watch out for and see what works best for you. That one seems to be a little bit heavier handed than the Motion Computing Standard digitizer pen. I guess I'll have to do the natural weight on there, and you'll see that it's actually getting a little thicker and a little heavier. One of the things I want to let you know, the brush size is a 73.7 pixel size, but you should be able to see that on your screen. I just picked a size just so that you can see what size it can actually run. Next one is the Toshiba pen. Again, same rules apply. I'm just going to go really lightly, and this one seems to be really sensitive, at least from what I'm feeling here, and it seems to capture everything very heavy. I wouldn't say heavy, seems to be capturing all the lines. Let me just redo that again. Again, I'm just running the pen, just skimming over it. And again, I don't know who draws like this, but in case you need like a feather touch, I think this one will do okay. Alright. The next one is the UP Wacom pen. This one's a lot thinner, lighter, has the one button functionality, pressure sensitive tip, and I just put the standard nylon tip. And you can see, again, I'm just barely putting any weight on it. I'm holding the pen really, and I guess to some extent, depending on how I'm tilting the pen, it's capturing or not capturing something. This other thing I want to talk about is the tilt, but we'll get to that later. It seems to capture everything pretty decent. Overall, these pens are going to have almost the same exact effect. The reason why I'm actually running these tests is mainly so that you can actually get an idea of why you would want to pick one pen over another, and what it's going to come down to, more importantly than anything, is going to be preference. Overall will be preference. Some of the features are hit and miss. Obviously, some will be some that you would prefer or not prefer, etc., etc. This one is the Modbook standard digitizer pen, very similar to the Wacom one. And once again, doing the same test, just going to run it across the top. And I'm also going to mention a little bit about tilt, and we'll go from there. This one actually seems to be a lot lighter. It's capturing the, oops, let me zoom in on here. It's capturing those really light faded marks, but it does actually disappear at some point. And it's probably because of the tilt, but I'm not sure. So we'll leave it alone for now. Last one is the Surface Pro. Again, I don't own a Surface Pro, but what I do notice from this pen is the sensitive tip is actually really, really good. Alright, so now we're going to do some tests on, I guess, tilt. I'm going to go to New Canvas, and I'm going to go ahead and zoom in. I'm going to tab out all the non-essentials. This is the Toshiba pen, doing really, really light lines, and then I'm going to do some really, well, I don't want to say heavy, I'm applying slight pressure, and then I want to do some variances in there, just so that you can see there's actual line weight. And also to note, I'm holding the pen like I would naturally hold it to draw. It's tilted, it's not directly standing vertically or horizontally on this plane. Let's see if I can tilt this so you can get a better idea. And you'll see that my pen isn't actually sitting vertically. So let's measure tilt. There's some artists that draw like this, and you'll see that it's actually applying pressure. I don't normally draw like this, so I don't know what the actual position or hand manipulation it is to do this type of drawing, but clearly, again, pen is tilted. It's behind me, and you'll see that it's still making marks. So in reference to tilt, you can tilt the pen. I don't know if it actually accurately measures tilt. I don't think it does, but does it still draw the line when the pen is tilted? You be the judge. And here I am. Now I'm actually like tilting it, making lighter and darker lines so you can see. And this is on the Toshiba pen, which is right now my preferred pen. I'll test all the other pens just so that you can see this as well. Let's see if I can empty some of this out. You see I'm actually holding it tilted. To some point it stops. Like it's no longer, the tip is no longer sitting on the actual digitizer, but as soon as it hits the digitizer, you'll see that it's holding up pretty good. And this is the UP Wacom standardized digitizer pen. Bamboo feel. Again, I'm going to just edit some of this stuff so you can not see it anymore. You can't see this one because it's actually really light. And it might be true that this pen does do 1024 levels of pressure just because I'm applying pressure and it's still coming out a light line, and then when I want to do a heavy line, it's doing a really heavy line. So there are increments. One way to test this is actually like to do shades and apply pressure eventually, gradually. Depending on how smooth and how fast you are and how pressure sensitive your wrist is or your pressure is to an actual page, you can start seeing the gradual differences. So there's that. And then a really nice pen. Not my ideal pen, but nice one. Surface Pro. This one's kind of like straight. I would say it does do a lot of light gestures. Get rid of some of this stuff. And tilt. Again, can feel a lot of the light lines, and I'll do the same thing. Lighter, and gradually make it darker. It's the Surface Pro pen. Alright, this is the Axiotron pen. And again, same thing, gradual, middle, I guess end. So might be, again, weight variances might have an effect on it too. But I noticed this one isn't as sensitive as the even the Surface Pro. Alright, now the Axiotron pen. And this one starts off really light. And again, these are all variables, but you know, how heavy and how slightly you add pressure or continually add pressure will determine how much, I guess, thickness and heaviness of the pin. So that has something to do with it. And you can see when I'm doing a regular pressure and light pressure, it's making lines, you just can't really see them. Capturing everything, and again, my natural way to hold the pin, it's tilted, it's not vertical. And I'll go ahead and do the vertical tilt so you can see that no matter how I'm tilting this pin, or even to an extent holding the pin, it's still drawing. Okay, and the last pin I'm going to test is the standard motion pin. I'm getting rid of some of the lines. Again, depending on the weight, your hand, and how heavy you draw determines how heavy this pen will work. Now do the tilt. And you'll see that it works. Do the side pin thing. You grab it like this. Some artists grab pins like this when they want to draw. I find odd, but some people know how to do this. I don't know how to do this. Anyway, so there you have it. So what does all this mean? We've showed you all the pens. We've tested all the pressure sensitivity, the tilts, the gradual changes from light to dark. And essentially every pen that I own that works, at least to my liking to an extent, and the pros and cons of all of them. What does all this mean? It means every pen that you can possibly own has some type of customization. means every type of pen that you can use will all be dependent on what you feel is most comfortable. I'm giving you the options. I'm showing you the different pros and cons. I'm showing you myths or broken myths, whether or not they show tilt or not tilt, whether or not a pen works better than another pen, the actual benefits of having one over the other, etc., etc. So in essence, all this is all up to you. There is no be-all and end-all of pens. I hope you've enjoyed this review. If you have any questions, please just let me know, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Enjoy.